Is 11 after 8 o'clock, and inshallah, we are going to be joined by Professor Yusuf Chikte. If we still have problems with his network, we do have him on video at the moment. But if we still do have problems with the network, we will ask him to switch off his camera and then we'll talk with him. We'll have the audio connection. Salaam alaikum to you. Welcome.
Well, alaikum salam, and thank you. And it's great to be on your show. And while you were talking about the rain in Gauteng, just remember that the people in Gaza are deprived of water, a war crime,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
how they wouldn't wish for water, for rain to come down, and the storms on that side, on your side, must be compared to the storms of tyranny that's raining around them daily with the phosphorus bombs that they're unleashing around them. So let us be gird ourselves to fight this terror. You mentioned that you were called out for saying the word genocide. Well,
Absolutely.
the South African cabinet, right, the executive of South Africa has referred to the situation in Palestine in terms of a genocide, a Holocaust, an apartheid, a crime against humanity. So if they want to battle, let them battle with the African cabinet. But we must say it what it is. We must we must indicate it for what it is, and we must use the words, and we mustn't be shy away. The recent DA pamphlet um, around how to. I mean, they've gagged Khalid Kachalia from saying that it is a genocide, and he dutifully went into his corner like a little dog in a manger, and for using the word genocide. But in the recent statement, they strenuously avoid the word apartheid. They strenuously avoid the word genocide. They strenuously avoid the word Holocaust. They strenuously avoid international war crimes, crimes against humanity, crimes against international crimes, the contravention of the Geneva Convention in terms of starving people to death, the contravention of denying people water. And so this is what's happening inside our country, inside South Africa. And how is it possible that you can allow fascism and a genocide to be amplified and to be minimized in South Africa from within our own ranks? And we've had peaceful. Just on the question of genocide, it's against the Geneva Convention to bomb hospitals. It's explicitly so. And Genocide Joe Biden, has called upon Israel to be less intrusive around the bombing of the hospitals in terms of its protection. He doesn't say that it is against, he doesn't condemn it. He doesn't say that it is a war crime, it contravenes the Geneva Convention. He is saying how to conduct the genocide, not to stop it or not to hold people accountable for it. So that is the untruth. So, Julie, so it's good if you are being called out, you're being called out for a good thing, and call it and say it more and say it louder on Salam Media and every other platform that we can get. Julie, we've had protests in Cape Town for a very long time. It was escalated in October in the last month, peaceful protests without incidents. And they were authorizing us to have these kinds of protests. And we've never had one incident. We've had people congregating singly in their tens, in their hundreds, in the thousands, and in the tens of thousands. We never had one incident. And South African Zionism is going on a rampage here in South Africa, firstly in cahoots with the city council. They were authorized. Last Saturday we had a massive protest, and estimates vary from 50 to 150,000 people who were there at the gathering. The entire 3-kilometer stretch from your street to Wales Street was filled with people, and it was incident free, despite all the Jean provocateurs who were around because we marshaled it very well. On Saturday, the last Saturday past, there was a call for a meeting to promote, amplify, and defend and enable genocide in South Africa by the South African Zionist Network. And they were granted a they were authorized to proceed with that gathering. And certain pro-Palestinian groups also applied for a permit to indicate the horrors of what is taking place. You know, you've seen. I don't want to watch TV, seeing those infants dying in hospital because they are being surrounded by Israeli tanks, and the medical personnel are being shot at, and they don't have electricity to get into the incubators, and pregnant mothers delivering babies prematurely on account of the Israeli attacks on them. You see all that, and we wanted to highlight that, and we were not authorized to protest there. So genocide is okay for the city of Cape Town to amplify and authorize. The protest against the genocide, which the cabinet approves, is declined. And it's not only declined, but the Zionist groups who obtained the permit were boasting and bragging for the city of Cape Town implementing apartheid-style authorization for protests. They cannot stand the fact that we can enter Sea Point post-1994 freely, have freedom of assembly, association, and protest unarmed and peacefully. So these apartheid-style application of the laws must stop. Firstly. Secondly, they not only boasted about it, they encouraged people to come. They were very happy to announce that those pro-Palestinians groups were denied one, and it would be illegal for us to act to go there. They also assured them that there will be a good police presence, a mighty police presence, which they were right. And there will be special security groups as well. And they refer to us as they. You know, the very othering of the formerly disfranchised people. This is what they and this really made people angry. And on the Saturday big march, people said no, they wouldn't accept a reintroduction of group areas and dom passes and permits to enter certain areas during certain times, and they resolved to go there. And because Sea Point is quite full with people walking there over the weekend especially, and there was no way in which we were going to be restricted. So that was the first part of it. That was the beginning of the incitement. The second part of it, when the pro-Palestinian protesters arrived there.
Can I just interrupt you here? I want to get in a few points, and then I'd like to go to for an ad break and get back to you to respond to all of this. You mentioned the DA. Undoubtedly, they are now quite nervous about events rolling out in the Western Cape. I think they've realized since seeing that march on Saturday and the turnout by Muslim people, Muslims and non-Muslims, and the sacking of Kachalia, that they are in deep trouble come the next elections, 2024. They were boasting for a long time about their reign in the Western Cape, boasting about the fact that they can govern a city so well, and they can provide services, etc. But of course, they're talking about the wealthier suburbs of the Western Cape. What about the townships in the Western Cape? So we need to look at that issue. There's also an issue around protesters being labeled as ISIS supporters, as apparently the black flag was flown at the Sea Point protest. That is a very dangerous utterance by whomever. We need to understand what was that poster all about and set the record straight. And the last point I want to make, and I'll allow you to respond right after the ad break, is the humanity. Where is the humanity in all of this? The humanity regarding the genocide and ethnic cleansing of innocent people in Palestine, in the largest open air prison in the world. I did say that was the last, but the mindset of white South Africans defending the actions of the illegal occupiers. I've noticed every day when I come onto my show, there's very, very negative comments being posted on social media against me, against Salam Media, against Muslims in general. And I don't think these people understand that this is not an issue around Muslims and Islam. It's about humanity. It's about even Christian Palestinians being, being ethnic cleansed from their ancestral land. And I just wonder, 30 years after apartheid, how come the mindset of, and again, I don't want to generalize, it's not all whites, it's not all Jews. There are amazing people in all of our different communities, and we salute them for that. But we're talking about people that still have this apartheid mentality, and they can stand up and speak very loudly and want to attack people who go out and speak the truth. So hold forth on all of that. We're going to go for our ad break, and when we get back, I'd like you to respond to all of my comments and statements.
Thank you. Will do.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
Africa. The Ahmad School of Excellence in Lebanon provides world-class education to Syrian and Palestinian refugees and Lebanese children with a library, coding, robotics lab, special needs classroom, and more. Amman is the foundation from which a generation of underprivileged children can fight poverty and reclaim their freedom. Donate towards a child's education because every child deserves the chance of a better future. Africa Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and free zakat calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031-208-9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Every day, the Israelis are establishing a new settlement and expanding the existing settlement. And all this before the 7th of October.
Against the background of the dire humanitarian crisis unfolding in Gaza, accompanied by the genocide and carnage, Salam Media brings you world-renowned Norwegian physician and Palestine activist Dr. Mads Gilbert.
We are witnessing in full daylight on all television channels a mass slaughter.
Dr. Gilbert brings along over 15 years of experience working in Gaza's medical facilities, particularly during crisis times, especially with the Gaza Strip under a brutal, inhumane siege during this period.
When is the world going to wake up? When are we going to stand up and tell Israel, you stop this immediately?
For more information, contact Nadia Mir on 082-228-0303 or Yasira Suleiman on 082-728-6721.
The Turkey-Syria earthquake is among the deadliest earthquakes of the last century. Thousands have lost their lives, and large areas and cities and towns in southern Turkey and northern Syria have turned to rubble, leaving huge numbers of residents with very little or nothing at all. Al Imdad Foundation's emergency relief team is on the ground providing life-saving aid. The people of Turkey and Syria desperately need your support. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042-203-1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is exactly 8:27 a.m. News and views on Salam Media. My first guest is Professor Yusuf Chikta. He's based in the Western Cape, and he's talking to us about the current situation in Palestine. Welcome back. I love that sign behind you.
So come on the plug.
It says it all. It says it all.
Yeah.
Professor, are you still lecturing at Stellenbosch?
I'm emeritus and I've retired about 4 years ago.
Okay, great stuff. Enjoy your retirement, but I see you still very, very active as the coordinator of the PSC. So you're, of course, going to now respond to my questions and comments.
Okay, you had 3 questions. I'll start off with the one of ISIS. ISIS never, ever supported the Palestinian struggle. ISIS is a creation, as we all know, of the United States, America, and Israel. They regularly attack pro-Palestinian groups, whether it's Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the other groups. They attack just about everybody. But there's one group that they've never attacked, and that is Israel. Right? So just get that record straight. ISIS is to Zion, ISIS is to Islam as Zionism is to Judaism, right? So that we have no truck with ISIS. It's a creation of imperialism, and ISIS, we have banned the flags in our meetings. That was a meeting of a coordinating group before the big meeting, and that is the line that we are following. And somebody did bring a black flag with, and that was, and the instructions to the marshals were, when you see that flag, you take it down, right? You explain to people, you take it down. That's one of the flags that we are not allowing because of the creation, the support for Zionism and Israel, or the acquiescence to it, and the attack on oppressed people generally. So let us get that out of the way very quickly. We don't support ISIS. We are anti-ISIS, and ISIS is a creation of that. And so, there are lots of agents provocateurs coming to our meetings, but we deal with that. We had peaceful protests for a very, 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 very long time. Small ones, big ones. So that is part of the Zionist toolbox, Hasbara toolbox, to say it's this, it's that, it's violent, and all those kinds of things. Your second question, what about the DA? Yeah, the DA, they were all for Ukraine, and we would, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Steenhuisen or one of their top brass went to Ukraine. We would welcome him to come to Gaza, to see for himself, to get an eyewitness account of what is happening there. Firstly. Secondly, they put up a flag of Ukraine on the provincial parliament, and we want the same for Gaza. They haven't, in all their statements, It is Hasbara speak, saying two sides, and they support both sides. No, you cannot support a colonizer and the colonized. You cannot support the genociders, the people who perpetrate the genocide, perpetrate the Holocaust, perpetrate apartheid, and those who are its victims. So in all these statements, they haven't called for a ceasefire. They haven't called for humanitarian aid to the Palestinians. They haven't called for international protection for the Palestinians, where their cities, their towns, their people are being bombed, the refugee camps, the homes, the schools, the churches, the mosques. They haven't called for a condemnation of that. Secondly, we are calling for the expulsion of, and until and unless they do that, they condemn those activities, then we can talk about how we can go further in the other demands, the expulsion of the Israeli Prime Minister, the prosecution of the persons going on to joining the military, the Israeli military, and the BDS, full BDS, severing ties with Israel at the municipal and at the governmental, at the provincial level. And then we must do that. If they haven't done that, they don't get our support. And there was clear slogans there: don't vote DA or any of the others, the ACDP, the IPA, the IFP, the Freedom Front. And it's a fascist front that they're having around there. So that deals with the DA issue. And then on the humanity issue, I think we must speak the truth, say what is happening, and there is no need for embellishment. Bombing of hospitals and killing of children and starving a population needs no other kinds of activities to condemn it. Appealing to the privileged classes of South Africa, I doubt whether you can appeal to the hearts and minds of colonizers in Europe, in America, or the relics of which we find in South Africa. I said it before. Biden said that they must be less intrusive. How can you be less intrusive in the bombing of a hospital, in the closure of a hospital, in the sniping of its medical personnel? You must say it's a war crime and you must stop it. You can't say being less intrusive on the one hand and provide $14 billion of arms on the other hand. I mean, it's simply the discrepancy is so wide. So the same year with the ruling classes here, the Zionist oligarchs, you have a person, Basil Herzog, who made those profanities against the Palestinians at that rally. They have no hearts. Their hearts are within the military-industrial complex. Their hearts are within colonization. Their hearts are for ethnic cleansing. Their hearts are to enable and fund genocide. So we must do our work, and we must afflict the comfortable, as we did at many places, to provide comfort to the afflicted. So we mustn't, and I think Chief Mandla Mandela called for a defiance campaign. And we in Cape Town, there are people who spoke about disrupting their comfort, civil disobedience, a defiance campaign to ensure that this genocide stops, and it stops now.
Okay, another question is, when we look at the Zionists, I still can't get my mind around the fact that these are descendants of Holocaust survivors and people who were killed in the Holocaust. How can you do unto another people what was done unto your ancestors?
Yeah.
That for me is not gelling at all. Surely that should have been a lesson for not only Zionists, but to all people around the world.
Yeah. The simple answer to that: one genocide by the Europeans doesn't justify another genocide on the Palestinians. And so you're absolutely right there. But I think the hegemonic grip that Zionism has over Jews in South Africa, especially, the indoctrination that is taking place in the kindergartens, in the schools, and the apartheid style issues that they are get involved with is part and parcel of this. That is why we're calling for an investigation on the part of the Department of Basic Education to ensure that children are not indoctrinated and inculcated with hate speech, with the promotion of apartheid. And we are busy both with at the provincial level and at the national level around it. But I think the single-minded purpose of Zionism, as opposed to Judaism, is to colonize, is to promote Jewish supremacy, is to promote ethnic cleansing, is to promote dominance within that region over the Palestinians. So they are the descendants of Nazism, not its alter ego. They promote, they were born in that and collaborated. Zionism, as Tony Greenstein so eloquently articulates in his book, Zionism collaborated with the Nazis, and since the beginning, you know, Aaron Sisling in 1948, when he heard reports about Dar Yassin massacre, he says, I'm shivering because now we act like Nazis. I mean, they open the whole transformation of a people encouraged by Zionism to form an Israeli state. That whole is, is based on the idea of Jewish supremacism, and it has led to an open declaration of Judeo-Nazism. And there are many people who attribute that to the closed-mindedness and the indoctrination that is taking place here. I just saw a video this morning of Finkelstein, where he speaks about the trajectory of Israeli society into Judeo-fascism, something which Albert Einstein warned about and Hannah Arendt warned about in the 40s already. So we are at that moment, and the fascist beast has risen its head again, this time in Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv. But this time, like Eichmann, they are not on that side of the bench as they are the Nazis. They are standing there in judicial robes and in parliament, and that is what we need to dismantle, a Judeo-Nazism that has gripped that part of Palestine miscalled Israel.
And it's not only Palestine that's feeling the might of these Nazis or these Zionist Nazis. It's reverberating all around the world. You just
Yes.
need to hear what the British and the American and European people in general, their view on the current situation playing out in Palestine. It is frightening. You can't believe that people are that close-minded and they have the sense of white supremacy all around the world. And obviously, we need to unpack that as well, but at in another interview, because we have run out now. But always a pleasure talking with you, Professor Yusuf Chikte. You have such a deep understanding of all of these issues, not only regarding the genocide and the Palestinian issues, but global issues at large. So always a pleasure talking with you. We will talk again sometime soon. Go well. Keep us in your duas.
Thank you so much. All the best to you.
And that, of course, was Professor Yusuf Chikte talking to us about the current situation playing out in Palestine and the protest marches in and around South Africa, and very especially the very successful one in Cape Town on Saturday past, where we were told that up to possibly 250,000 people marched very peacefully in the Western Cape. So let's keep up with that momentum and let's make our voices heard, but in a very peaceful manner. The time exactly is 8:40. News and views on Salam Media. Next up, we are going to be talking with the Gaza emergency update and Run for Gaza campaign with Abdul Alim Khamsa.